dirección ejecutiva de la CIP. Así que muchas gracias, Carlos, y adelante.
Buenos días y muchas gracias, Ricardo. La verdad que es un honor para mí poder continuar con este trabajo tan importante que ha hecho Ricardo Trotti como director ejecutivo de la CIP por muchos años y en la CIP durante casi 3 décadas de trabajo. Así que honrado de poder continuar con este trabajo y muy a gusto de poder estar hoy moderando este panel. Lo voy a hacer en inglés porque la mayoría de dos de los tres ponentes van a estar en inglés, así que Soledad dijo cómo se puede encontrar la interpretación y muchísimas gracias. So I'm gonna switch for English now, and we will be discussing IA tools to combat disinformation. And I want to start by saying that in the IAPA's mid-annual meeting, the president of the IAPA's Freedom of Press and Information Committee, Carlos Hornet, clearly said that artificial intelligence presents two opposing facets. The negative one, with the risk of generating untruthful, biased information and multiplying this information, and then a positive aspects, which provides an opportunity to innovate and create new valuable products and services. In this session, as I said, we will focus on AI tools to combat disinformation. And as experts have described, these tools are important in the fight against disinformation as they offer rapid, scalable, and consistent solutions to combat the spread of false information. Their capacity to analyze vast amounts of data in real time, including text, images, and videos, enables quick detection and response to disinformation campaigns. And the AI's ability to facilitate collaboration between people and machines can improve the efficiency of efforts to counter disinformation. With no further delays, I would like to introduce our panelists, distinguished panelists today. Arkanath Pathak from Google Research, Mateo Heras from the Content Authenticity Initiative, and Ed Dearden from Full Fact. And we'll start with Arkanath Pathak, who is a senior software engineer at Google Research, specialized in media integrity. His research centers on developing methods to intelligently extract, represent, and compare the context of media online. He also works on generative AI-derived media and how it affects the future of media integrity. Arkanath is going to tell us about the Fact Checker Explorer as he's focused on developing techniques for finding image context and researching generative models. We will have 15 minutes for each of the panelists in this workshop, so I will request each one of you to stick with the 15 minutes so we can have the time to answer questions. Thank you very much. Arkanath, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Carlos. I'm happy to be here. Let me just try to share my screen. Sorry, I think I might need to quit and reopen Zoom. I did not have the permission to share my screen. Give me 1 second. Is this okay?
This is okay, yes.
Okay, great. I'd also like to mention I'm joined with my colleague, Christopher Sapchak. He'll also be here and can help in answering some questions. He's he works. He's been working with me on this project. So let me start by presenting these slides. So this work is brought by Google Research and Google News Initiative. The Google News Initiative and research, we are trying to improve the tools that we have available for fact-checking, for the fact-checking community. And to provide some background, the Fact Check Explorer is a tool where we surface fact checks using the claim review markup. And currently you can search for fact checks using text, and you can also access the data through an API. But we know there's more features we need to add, as also we have received some feedback. So I'm excited to present 2 new features in this work. Some more information, some more motivation for this. Media-based misinformation is actually very prominent. It's a very prominent type of misinformation, and it has been more prominent over the last several years. So this is a study where we show, like, since 2019, we've seen a rise in media-based information. Media-based information meaning this not just based on text, but it's also including some form of media that is relevant to the misinformation. As a result of that, we also see that reverse image search tools have been becoming more popular over the time. We see again after 2019, we see a rise in the use of reverse image search tools. So in this work, we are introducing 2 new image search features, and these will be available in the Fact Check Explorer. These 2 new features, the first feature is search for fact checks, but you can use search by image. So we have built a robust reverse image search method, and we're specializing in searching for images present in these fact checks using the claim review markup or mentioned in these fact checks. And the second feature is what we're calling image context, where we are inferring the image context using the web references found on the open web. So I'll talk about both of these features. Let me provide a demo of this, a video of this, how this fact check search by image might look like. So we have a new search by image feature, search by image button, which is now present in the Fact Check Explorer tool. And when you search by this image of a shark, which has been used several times in multiple instances of misinformation, we can now directly search by this image, and we'll see all the different fact checks that have mentioned this image. This is definitely useful if you don't know what text you need to search for, right? So you can find all these fact check articles. The second feature that I'm excited to talk about is image context. Again, let me go more deep into that. So this really kicks in when you don't have a fact check that we can surface, or we need more information about an image. And so for doing that, what we are trying is, given an image, we are showing all the web references and contextual information over time. This is really going beyond the simple reverse image search, where now we are trying to infer the salient context from the content in these web references. And we are also we are grouping the references in time frames, so we can kind of display the history of this image and how it has evolved over time. And we are also providing a contextual relevance, like a sorting of the web references based on how relevant it is to the image that's been given in the search. But we are also providing the ability to sort by time, if that's what you're looking for. And finally, we are also providing a way to filter these references, so you can quickly filter by a context that we surface to understand what this context is about from the web references. On the right, we show an example. This is an image of wind turbine. It's just a visualization of what this tool is, what the information we are going to provide. So for this image is an instance of miscontextualization. So this image is originally taken in Sweden in 2014, but in misinformation instances, it's been claimed to be from Texas, for example. So the tool will first show that this image was first indexed by Google in 2016. So this can be an evidence of when we know this. It's a sign we can use, like when we know this image has existed. And then we will show references from 2018 that associate this image with Sweden. And then we'll also show references from 2021, where we'll see the miscontextualization examples, where this is associating with Texas, for example. Some more background and motivation. This misinformation we just showed is actually a very common type of misinformation, which is context manipulation or miscontextualization. In a survey, we found that this is actually the most common type of image-based misinformation present in these fact check articles. So what we'll see here is, yeah, it's around 40% in 2023 of misinformations based on image are actually instances of context manipulations. The context manipulation meaning an image is repurposed in a different context than what was the original context for the image. Looking further into this, we have found that there's actually 3 common types of manipulation when miscontextualization happens. And these 3 are dates, location, and identities. So the location, for example, Sweden was said to be in Texas, or the people present in the image are also claimed to be someone else than what was the original context, or the date or time from when this image is from. And so really these are the 3 common types, and we're hoping our tool will be more efficient for this type of misinformation, context manipulation. And because these 3 are the common types of and relatively tractable types of manipulation, we are focusing on these 3 contexts that will surface in our tool. I have a preview here, but I would just like to show a demo that would be better. So, sorry, let me just go to the demo. So let me, so now when you search for an image, again, using the search by image, you'll see an option to either provide an image URL or drag and drop an image, a file that you already have. And there's the fact checks tab, which might be empty if you were not able to find fact check articles for this image. And now there's also a new tab for image context. So on the top here, you'll see the different subjects for this image, subject or context that we've extracted. You can show more to see a bigger list. And as we'll see here, Texas and Sweden are the top contexts, and also 2014. And then we'll show all the references. The image index date is on the top. And these references, you can kind of hover to see a quick pop-up about what's the article, what's the web reference title, and when is the first seen date of when we think the image appeared on that reference, or the reference included that image. And these subjects are also present for these different time frames that we have grouped the references into. So you can click on a time frame and see all the references in that time frame. You can also filter. So let's say you filter by Sweden, and then you'll see these are the references we think we have found Sweden to be relevant with. So this, we've started seeing it in 2016 and also see it further along. And for Texas, we'll see it later in 2020 or 2021. And these references are also filtered to only include references that contain those references. You can also sort these references, like I said before, by relevance or by time. So now if you sort by time, you'll see in order of when it appeared in that time frame. So with that, let me go back to the presentation. So yeah, that marks the end of my presentation. These features are available in a closed beta at this moment. So I'm welcoming you all to sign up for this if you want access. There's a form that you can sign up, and we are slowly rolling out access to more and more users. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Arkanath. That was great, and it was even better in terms of time. So our next presenter is Mateo Heras from Content Authenticity Initiative. Mateo is an engineer in telecommunications with over 35 years experience in information technology, business development, and consulting services in Latin America. His 17-year career at Reuters ended as the Latin American's Director of Technology. Later, he provided technology service to Getty Images in Latin America for 9 years. He also supplies DAM systems to photographic archives in Argentina and drove an AI-based predictive analytics platform to accelerate and boost subscription sales for regional media companies. Mateos will present progress made in creating a standard for digital image authenticity, and his presentation will be in Spanish. Thank you. Mateo, please.
Gracias, Carlos. Buenos días, buenas tardes para todos. Sí, yo hago el salto a castellano, después que te hice leer todo en inglés, voy a presentar en español, porque nosotros estamos difundiendo, voy a compartir mi pantalla. A ver. Ahí está viendo. ¿Se está viendo ahí?
Sí, sí.
Bueno, primero, antes que nada, quería agradecer a los organizadores, a Carlos, a Roberto, al Proyecto Desconfío, a la CIP en general, a la Fundación para el Periodismo. La iniciativa de autenticidad de contenidos, CAI por sus siglas en inglés, fue lanzada en el 2019. Y vamos a ver un poco de qué se trata. La lucha contra la desinformación es compleja y requiere, los adversarios mejoran todo el tiempo y se perfeccionan y requieren un enfoque multilateral. Así es como tenemos a los fact-checkers en la primera línea trabajando en esto hace tiempo y ayudándonos a evitar los problemas. También iniciativas de educación, también iniciativas para producir legislación. Y sobre este universo nosotros venimos para contribuir en un enfoque del lado de la procedencia o la trazabilidad como una forma de autorregulación de los medios. Voy a volver sobre esta palabra porque es importante, que acá está el corazón y es el concepto que yo quiero que quede. La procedencia consiste, en nuestro caso, en dar al lector hechos básicos acerca del origen de una pieza de contenido digital, que puede ser imagen, video, grabación de audio o documentos. Van a ver que a lo largo de la presentación hablo mucho de imágenes porque es lo que está más avanzado, pero tengan en cuenta que es todo lo que se desarrolla y se analiza y se produce en este sentido puede aplicarse a cualquier contenido digital. Es una solución, lo que se proponen son soluciones de código abierto, el software y las herramientas que se producen se ponen en dominio público y cualquiera puede usarlas sin costo. Y lo crucial de esto es que se muestra el origen de los archivos digitales y su historial de edición. Y por lo tanto se da vuelta un poco el peso de la prueba y se prueba que es real en oposición a detectar que es falso. Se están empezando a usar para describir estas cuestiones de procedencia, se lo asocia a las etiquetas de alimenticias, ¿no? Todos sabemos cuando levantamos una lata en un supermercado, esperamos ver alguna información, no esperamos a comerlo y descomponerlo para ver que no era lo adecuado, sino que esperamos ver información de cuándo fue envasado, quién lo hizo, qué contiene, qué no contiene. Entonces, esta industria ha hecho todo un proceso para llegar a esto y estamos nosotros propiciando que la industria de los medios y la información haga un proceso similar para que uno, en cuanto se encuentra con algo, pueda saber de dónde proviene y evitar. Entonces, porque una vez que está suelto, una vez que se suelta una foto, se suelta un video, y lo ven varios miles o millones de personas, y después se desmiente o se demuestra que es falso, el daño ya está hecho. ¿Cómo es el proceso para generar credenciales de autenticidad? Voy a hacer un ejemplo acá con una foto que se toma o se crean credenciales de autenticidad en el momento de tomarla, ya sea como una cámara o al generarlo con inteligencia artificial. Hemos visto muchos ejemplos y hay cursos todo el tiempo de cómo usar la inteligencia artificial en las salas de redacción. Lo importante es que al usarla se creen credenciales que expliciten que ha sido creada o modificada con inteligencia artificial. Y una cosa importante que incorpora el modelo es que también se puede agregar indicaciones de este contenido no debe ser, no quiero, yo soy el que lo generó, no quiero que sea usado para entrenar modelos de inteligencia artificial. Y esto nos parece que es un feature, una funcionalidad muy importante. En el momento de editar una foto, sabemos que la edición, el recorte, el enfoque, el énfasis que uno le da puede cambiar el sentido, entonces es importante que también se agreguen a las credenciales qué cambios se hicieron en una imagen. Estas imágenes después viajan dentro de los sistemas de los medios y es importante que conserven las credenciales. Y por último, cuando se publica, tendrá un icono en el rincón superior que permitirá al lector, de una forma clara y universal, entender el recorrido que siguió esa imagen, de forma tal que sin ayuda, sin entrenamiento exhaustivo, sin herramientas, él o ella puedan entender qué ocurrió con esa imagen anteriormente. ¿Cómo se ve esto desde el punto de vista de los lectores? Vamos a ver un ejemplo. Partiendo de esta foto en color de una persona, esta foto sufre varias ediciones, ¿no? Primero se recorta y se vuelve blanco y negro, después se le hace un cambio de sentido, un flip, y después se vuelve a recortar. Vamos a ver, esta foto es la que se publica finalmente, entonces acá la vamos a ver en un sitio, y acá vamos a ver que tiene credenciales de autenticidad. Al darle clic en este icono, se despliega una ventana que me da una cierta información instantáneamente. Por ejemplo, que esta foto está firmada por Adobe, y esto es muy importante, comprando un certificado de una autoridad de certificación, cualquier persona o medio puede firmar unívocamente los contenidos que produce. En este caso dice que esta fue producida por mí, se produjo con Photoshop y tuvo recortes. Y yo quiero ver más. Acá tengo un botón que me permite, dándole clic, abrir esa imagen en una página de verificación de CAI, donde yo veo todo el recorrido, como les decía antes, que siguió esta foto. Acá se ven todas las versiones intermedias, esta es la foto que fue publicada, se ven las credenciales que vimos recién, se ven mis redes sociales, las redes sociales del autor, y qué cambios sufrió. Y yo puedo ir bajando y viendo paso a paso todos los cambios que sufrió. Y esto es literalmente dando clics. Esto nos parece poderoso, a esto se refiere agregar información de procedencia, y esto da el poder al lector de saber de dónde viene lo que está viendo. Las credenciales de contenido de CAI son una nueva forma de metadatos. Quizás algunos de ustedes ya están familiarizados con XMP, EXIF, IPTC. Estos son metadatos que son seguros, que están vinculados a la imagen y que son verificables, como acabamos de ver. Y cualquier intento de adulterarlos quedará en evidencia en el momento de verificar. La iniciativa ya tiene más de 1.500 miembros, van a ver acá algunos de ellos, algunos están participando justamente de este congreso. Y si bien son muchos, uno diría son muchos, son más de 1.500 a nivel mundial, varios en América Latina, necesitamos muchos más, porque así como consiguieron que todos los alimentos tengan las etiquetas, nosotros necesitamos que todas las piezas de contenido digital tengan información de procedencia. Estos son medios, también son parte de iniciativa empresas de tecnología, proveedores de cámaras, por ejemplo, Nikon y Leica ya han anunciado que equipos de ellos van a tener capacidad de generar credenciales de autenticidad en el momento de sacarlos. Trupic y Promote también están generando aplicaciones para generar credenciales en el momento de tomar fotos con un teléfono. Hay acá empresas de inteligencia artificial, hay Canon y Reuters recientemente hicieron toda una prueba de concepto para ver cómo funcionaría esto. O sea, eso tiene como, insisto, tenemos mucho apoyo ya, necesitamos más y al final los voy a invitar a todos a que se unan. En el mes de abril vimos estas fotos generadas por inteligencia artificial cuando Trump tenía que presentarse el día 5 de abril ante tribunales de Nueva York. Nosotros nos hubiera gustado haber visto esto ya en estas imágenes, porque, por ejemplo, esta foto de Trump detrás de las barras, con este icono nos hubiera permitido, dándole clic, enterarnos instantáneamente que era un contenido generado con una herramienta de inteligencia artificial, que fue generado el 4 de abril, la presentación fue el 5, lo produjo Elliot Higgins, que de Bellingcat estaría en las redes de este sitio, que es un sitio de simulación. Él lo hizo como una forma de demostrar el poder de que ha adquirido la inteligencia artificial generativa en su capacidad de generar imágenes, y hubiéramos visto que fue creado con Midjourney versión 4 y que fue creado. De la misma manera, en este mismo mosaico, esta foto que está acá en el medio, dándole clic, hubiéramos podido ver que fue generada por New York Times el día 5, a la hora que entró él a la sala, por Dave Sanders, que es un fotógrafo, las redes del New York Times, y los cambios que tuvo esta imagen, que se ajustó el color o la exposición, y se recortó, que es lo que habitualmente ocurre con este tipo de fotos. Recalco entonces que en el corazón de esta iniciativa, y es lo que traemos a la mesa para luchar contra la desinformación, está el agregar información de procedencia. Un caso práctico de uso ya es recientemente Adobe lanzó su sitio Firefly, que es explícitamente un sistema, es un servicio para generar imágenes con inteligencia artificial, pero vemos que todas estas imágenes ya tienen la I. Por ejemplo, si vamos a esta imagen y le damos clic en la I, podemos ver que explica inmediatamente que esto es un contenido generado con inteligencia artificial. Si fuéramos al View More, podríamos ver las credenciales como les mostré antes. Unirse acá es sencillo, necesitamos el apoyo de todos, como les dije, necesitamos una comunidad grande y fuerte para ayudar a que todos se alineen y la abracen, los proveedores de equipo, los proveedores de software, las redes sociales. Es importante que se unan para que podamos en un momento tener esta información de procedencia en la mayoría, y finalmente lo que no tenga información de procedencia inspirará dudas y estaríamos trabajando preventivamente, evitaríamos en gran medida la propagación de este tipo de información que es tan perniciosa. Gracias, acá después les van a quedar los mails de mi colega John Reichertz y mío, y también el link a la iniciativa. Y nada más. Y te di 3 minutos, Carlos.
Muchísimas gracias, Mateo. Muy eficiente. So our next panelist is Ed Dearden. Hello, Ed. Ed is a UK-based data scientist working for Full Fact AI, where he creates artificial intelligence tools to assist fact checkers. Prior to this, he completed a PhD in natural language processing, in which he studied linguistic characteristics of disinformation in April Fool's Day hoaxes and online conspiracy communities. Ed will be presenting Checkworthy and its innovations in fact-checking. Good morning, Ed. Thank you so much.
Hello, thanks very much, and thanks for the great talk so far. I shall just share my screen. Give me one moment. Great, hopefully you can see that.
Yes, perfectly well. Thank you.
Wonderful. So hello, I'm Ed. I'm a data scientist at Full Fact, which is a UK fact-checking charity. And I'm going to present to you today Checkworthy, a tool that we're currently working on for finding what to fact-check next. So I shall get started. So bad information ruins lives. I don't need to tell people that here really at a disinformation conference, but whether it is like vaccines, climate, various kind of contentious political issues, misinformation can cause real harm. And that's kind of what we exist to try and address. So what we do, we fact check information from politicians, the media, social media, viral online content, stuff like that. And we write fact checks to kind of call it out. We also follow up fact checks. We encourage politicians to correct the record and things like that, because without that, the fact checks aren't by themselves necessarily being seen by the people that saw the original misinformation. We also develop technology to help fact checkers to fact check. And we also campaign for laws to be changed and stuff to be done to make society more open with information and make less, spread less misinformation. So here's examples of the kind of fact checks we publish. They vary in topic, from kind of personal health stuff like ginger causes cancer to kind of immigration stories and conspiracy theory stuff. So it's quite varied what we do. But specifically, what I'm here to talk to you about today is Full Fact AI. This is a team within Full Fact who make AI tools to help fact checkers. So I'm a data scientist in this team. We don't create tools to do verification of content ourselves. We create kind of tools for fact checkers to search through claims and find claims that have been checked before and things like that. And we do this in multiple languages for teams around the world. That's what we do. So the problem I'm going to talk to you about today is this. There are too many claims. Claims are everywhere. Pretty much any sentence can contain a claim, from personal claims like I went to the shops to claims about quantities, like 40% of people in the UK support X. So these are, this is the problem, that there's so much content now, you can't check it all. And fact-checking teams are often small and very busy. And, we want to reduce the amount of stuff they have to see. So we want to kind of work out what the most important thing to fact check next is, which leads me to Checkworthy, the tool I'll talk about today. So this is a tool that we are making to highlight claims that are worth checking. It uses artificial intelligence tools to predict whether or not a claim is worth checking. The goal is that we can rank claims by how important they are to check, and therefore reduce the workload of fact checkers. So we take claims from the news, social media, radio, YouTube, places like that, and each is given a score. Things with higher scores are more important to check. So this is our aim. What does Checkworthy mean? It's a bit of a hard, it's a bit subjective what it means, because is checkworthy the same as checkable? Not everything that you can check needs to be checked. For example, if there was a claim like Messi scored a goal yesterday, that's very easy to check, but it's not particularly important to check for most fact checkers because it's not likely to cause a lot of harm. So for a lot of fact checkers, anything about, say, sports or entertainment would not be worth fact checking, but for others it might be. So part of the tool that was important was to vary it based on organization and topics. So different organizations get different things ranked as more checkworthy, because for us, we work with fact checkers, like, for example, in South Africa, and the stuff in South Africa that's checkworthy is going to be different from the stuff that we're looking at in the UK. So one of the challenges is gathering examples of checkworthy claims. So any machine learning model requires, well, any supervised machine learning model requires labels to train it, which means we need to get fact checkers to say whether things are checkworthy or not, so that we can train the model. But this is very slow because fact checkers are very busy, and it's quite a slow process because most stuff is rubbish. So we ended up going for kind of two different types of checkworthy model. So the first kind just is very simple and doesn't require data to be trained on, and is based on things like keywords. We sit down with fact checkers and that they say, we're interested in, say, education, and we come up with a list of words to kind of look for. This is kind of just a basic kind of searchy thing. But the good thing about that is it's super quick. So if someone, so for example, in the UK, there's been a lot of strikes recently. So we spun up a topic about strikes, and suddenly there's a checkworthy tool for them to find stuff about strikes, which reduces their workload. And there's also a second type of model, which uses machine learning to predict whether something is checkworthy. So for this, we work with fact checkers to annotate loads of data, and we can rank stuff for them. So health is an example, which pretty much everyone's interested in. So for health, we've got a more sophisticated model. How are we doing this? So there's not enough labeled data currently for, well, we don't have enough labeled data currently for training kind of neural models. So we're using kind of good old fashioned feature engineering methods. So we're sitting down with fact checkers and working out what kind of features they are interested in when they make a personal decision about whether something is checkworthy. So for example, a lot of them said that when something compares something to something else, that's the kind of thing that sets off an alarm in their head as that's checkable. So we look for the kinds of words like superlatives and comparatives, which convey comparisons like biggest, bigger, smaller, smallest, things like that. We also found statistics is something that they're always very interested in checking. So we look for kind of numerical claims, and those will get weighted higher than other things. And likewise topics. So if you're a health fact checker, you won't be as interested in stuff that's about politics. So that is, there's all these different kind of features which contribute to the score. And we're not kind of chasing crazy accuracy with this stuff because we've not got very much data and it's quite a subjective judgment. What we're really interested in is ranking stuff. So that stuff generally has a higher checkworthy score if it's worth checking. So if we show a fact checker 20 things, if 3 of them are useful, that's a much better hit rate than if they were just scrolling through thousands of things as they would be otherwise. So checkworthy in practice, what our tool does, this is part of our AI tools, which are all kind of web tools that are accessible through a browser to fact checkers. And we present topics, like different topics which are selected by organizations that are using our tool. So this is for ours, so it's following things like Brexit, climate, crime, economy, and it shows a kind of example claim from each. You can dig deeper into these, and so this is an example for health, and you can see the claims for health for a given day ranked. And as we can see, we're pulling out kind of numerical claims like oil and gas revenues, something that we can compare against national statistics and say, yeah, that's fair enough, that's not. So yeah, this is what the tool does. Basically, we just present the claims from a given day in a way that is useful to fact checkers. The second one there, as you can see, is not actually a health claim. And this is an example of where the tools are still, that they don't deal well with metaphors in this case, a metaphorical headache. So yeah, the tools aren't 100%. But one thing that is interesting about that one is it was pulled out of a radio show. So we're not just monitoring the news and like social media, we're also listening to radio shows and things like that, which is really useful. So here's another example for social media. So we also monitor a load of Facebook groups, which is really useful for our fact checkers who are quite reliant on fact checking for Facebook. So this is, again, another useful thing for fact checkers. The next thing that we're working on is making it multilingual. Currently, our tool works in English and French, and we're working on making it work in Arabic. But we want to, over time, support more languages because we want to make tools that fact checkers all over the world can use. Checkworthy isn't the only product that we work on. It sits within kind of Full Fact AI as a whole, which has other models for predicting claim types. So earlier I mentioned there are things like personal claims and opinions, as well as numerical claims and claims about polling and stuff like that. So this detector basically splits those out, so you can filter out all the opinions and personal stuff and keep the good stuff you're interested in. There's also a claim matching model, which allows you to find things that have, if you've written a fact check before, if that claim gets made again, the idea is that we can highlight it, and that gives a view that fact checkers didn't really have before easily, because you can therefore monitor your impact and things and see, if the claim keeps getting repeated after an MP has corrected themselves or something, that is useful. And then Checkworthy at the end, which helps people choose what to fact check next. So how are our tools being used? So we within Full Fact use them for checking yesterday's social media, for example, to see what claims were widely shared and contained checkable claims. It's also being used in Australia at the moment. Australian fact checkers are using it for monitoring misinformation in a referendum campaign, the Voice referendum that's going on currently. And there's also in Africa, in Nigeria specifically, I think it was being used in the elections earlier this year to monitor misinformation. And one cool thing was it was used in a live debate, which was cool, because we've got live transcription stuff going on. So there was a debate on YouTube, and we could there were people in the room with the claims coming through our system. So that's the kind of thing our tool can be used for. So if you are interested in anything you heard, visit that website there, fullfact.org/AI, and have a look. I am informed that licenses are now available, so if you're interested in that, feel free to get in touch. And thanks for listening.
Thank you so much, Ed. I think there's a question coming from John Richards. Thank you, John, for participating. And it's for you, Arkanath. Quick question on Fact Check Explorer. How would it handle the photo produced by artificial intelligence that is not marked as such?
Yeah, so there's definitely work being done to build classifiers to actually detect images that are generated by AI. If it's these particular features are focused on images that are already present on the web, and find the background for that. But as we know, AI generated images can be new and not have a background. So yeah, it's if it is already present on the web, our tool, these features can be helpful to look for it. But if not, we are looking into it in a different direction.
Thank you. I think there's a question that came in chat in Spanish, and I'm not sure who would be the one to answer this. And in the case of institutional videos, how can you protect the content from misuse through artificial intelligence?
From my point of view, I would suggest add provenance information to it. While it doesn't give you a full protection, at least you can argue afterward, if it is misused, that it was properly tagged, that probably said it couldn't be used to train AI models, and that you can prove it belonged to you. That is from my point of view as a content authenticity initiative.
Great. Arkanath or Ed, anything to add? All right. So another question here from Jose Sarmiento. Greetings from Honduras. Question comes to mind in the is the time process you have estimated that the AI you are using can learn a new language? In this case, Spanish.
Was that a question for me?
Yes. Ed.
Yes, okay, just
yes.
check. Yeah, so when we add new languages, currently the way it's kind of works is at first adding languages is kind of a lot of effort. Like originally the tools just worked in English, and then it was adding French was you know, a bit not too bad because it's not too different. And then when we're adding Arabic now, it's a new alphabet and it works differently and it's a bit harder. But hopefully once we've got kind of the more languages you get, the easier it is to add new languages, because a lot of them are reliant on multilingual language models that should adapt fairly easily. So yeah, we're hopeful that as we add more languages, it will get easier. But currently the one we have in our sites at the moment is Arabic.
Excellent, thank you, Ed. There's a question from, just came in, a question from Daniela Gonzalez Ron. From all the tools that we have seen so far, which is the ideal to detect false profiles in social media, particularly in Instagram? Any of you want to take on this?
I'd say that I think our tools are more geared towards claims being made rather than profiles, but it's definitely the fact checkers that work with us would do that kind of thing. But yeah, our tools currently don't help with that, I don't think.
Right.
I can add one more quick thing. I think that, like, for the profile itself, our tool, you'll be able to take a screenshot of, you know, the content, at least the media images within the profile, and try to start fact checking or try to understand the sources of that. So, you know, we're not directly linked in the profile, but you can definitely use the fact check tools that are shown here, specifically the context tools, to really understand the background of the content on the page.
Thank you, Christopher. And this is one more question. We're close to ending our hour, but Arkanath, this is for you. Who will have access to the bank of fake or discontextualized images that these programs will identify in order to analyze them and discuss them in public spaces, to question them and try to generate forms to mitigate the spreadability of such images? Or will they only be captured and be accessed by Google? Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good question. I'll actually let Chris answer this. I think he'll have a better answer than me.
Yeah, so the images that you see in the context tools are all images that we've found on the web. We don't bank or store the images. So the bad thing is if they are removed from the web, we don't have access to them. Good news is if they're out there, anybody can link to it and see it. And the context is there to basically provide a summary, a different view than what you might find in a Google reverse image search. So we can kind of be a little bit looser with our results here and provide a vaster view where it might be imperfect, but provide kind of that needle in the haystack that you might not find elsewhere.
Right.
If that helps.
Thank you. From Bogota, Maria Luz Gomez has another question. I'm going to translate while I read. Which verification tools from Google are free, and which of them you have to pay? And the same for the other presenters that have fact checking. Thank you.
Yeah, all the Google tools are open. The things that you saw today are just in beta as we try to figure out how to actually scale this and get this out to a wider audience. But everything that we're developing is free and actually ends up driving and ending up in products that are free to users. So some of our work with the fact check search on media will end up in Google's info literacy tools and search.
As I said, Kai is open source and it's free for everyone. Everything that's developed is published on internet with documentation, and anyone can use it free of charge. There are no licenses, no membership. I see one question that's missing for me on the chat. What happens with information when you unload a picture and you upload it to a social media? And that's important because I go back to my invitation to join. We have been working with social media, to get them to, when they detect an image with a credential, that they show the proper icon so that it can be verified. We still need to keep pushing, and the more, in this case, the more the merrier, right? The bigger the community, the more likely we can get the attention of the social media. And one more comment for Ed, which is, as an Argentine, when Messi scores a goal, it's not life or death situations, it's more important than that.
Sorry, that may have been a bad example, but just to follow up on just to follow on the question that was asked of all three of us, that our tools are not free, but we work with fact checkers, and the price is kind of, if you're a fact checking organization, the price is kind of negotiated. You can find out more information if you contact us. Yeah, but we work with a lot of fact checkers, so yeah, cool.
All right, I think Soledad, we'll have to leave it there. I would like to thank you, the three of you. Great presentations all, and to our audience in the Zoom channel and the YouTube. Thank you for everyone, and we'll go on to the next session. Thank you so much.